So I was watching your video last night, and you said that you'd seen all the Clone Wars episodes, but you haven't.
No, I've seen all the Clone Wars.
No, there's a couple episodes with like Jar Jar and Mace Windu that you haven't seen.
Jar Jar and Mace Windu have their own arc.
You didn't know that? They're really significant.
Who would... Oh, hi! Hey, we're having a little conversation.
Hi.
Apparently I haven't seen all the Clone Wars episodes. Jar Jar Binks and Mace Windu have... Is this something I need to watch? Really? Hey, welcome to the channel. We're going to have a discussion about the Clone Wars. Wrapping up. Final arc. Amazing ride. It was absolutely breathtaking in a lot of ways.
It was.
It was satisfying in a lot of ways. It was just enjoyable to watch. It finally got a proper conclusion because as everybody knows, Clone Wars was canceled when Disney took over Lucasfilm, and we weren't sure we were ever going to see it properly.
And I mean, that was a terrible ending when Ahsoka walked away. Like, nobody wants to see a show end like that. No one.
Yeah, it was sad. And then you had the lost episodes, and apparently some are still lost to me because I haven't seen Jar Jar and Mace. So
yeah.
Go figure. So we're going to have a discussion. We're going to jump right in because we don't want this video to be too long. We're just going to go over some of the things that we liked, that we really enjoyed. Maybe some of the things that surprised us. And maybe some things that we wanted to see and didn't. And just have a discussion and throw it out there to you guys who are watching. Thank you for checking us out. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And again, thank you to everybody who has. Give us thumbs up. And like I said, leave some comments. We always want to try to respond to all of them, and let's get a conversation going. And we're going to start it right here. So we're going to start off just talking about some of our favorite moments. There's a lot of them. It's going to be really hard to kind of whittle them down, but
I mean, I loved everything about those episodes, so it was kind of hard.
And specifically, we're talking about the last 4 and really the last 3 episodes, the whole Siege of Mandalore arc. Does anything stand out? Any favorite moments to you that we can?
Well, I mean, definitely the Ahsoka Maul lightsaber fight, the animation, the way it was done, the lighting, the dialogue. It was awesome. I mean, it was Star Wars, and it got you engaged, and I really liked that about it.
The motion cap that they integrated into that was amazing.
Yes.
Really top-notch technology and presentation, and just the feel of that battle was one of the best lightsaber battles we've ever seen. I know it's hard to compare, animation to live action,
but I mean,
but it was really good.
Cool.
What'd you guys think about it? It was certainly up there for us.
And I would say the only thing about the duel that I was a little bit confused about was in the Ahsoka novel with their duel. The dialogue was totally different in the Ahsoka novel. Did you notice that?
Well, I started the Ahsoka novel. I didn't finish. It was on audio, and then there were other things that came out, and I just never finished the novel.
And she had her green lightsabers in the novel instead of the blue.
Okay. Listen, the Clone Wars supersedes the book.
Yeah,
the Clone Wars supersedes the book. One of the, the duel itself was epic, but that's one of my favorite things about this whole Clone Wars arc. It's not a specific moment. It's the epic nature and presentation of the entire arc. There were things that were just the scale in which that they presented it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, one of the scenes, that scene with the duel where Ahsoka is facing off with Maul, the scale of that scenery was just amazing. And the Siege of Mandalore, the scale in which they presented the action was just, it was awesome. And then the final episode with the ship crashing.
It was just like the whole thing. There's just so much to look at.
The epic imagery of the Ventnor crashing. The epic imagery of the final scene with Vader. It was so. It was like a painting. It was just. It was so
really great.
Cool and poetic. And so that's one of my favorite things about the whole thing is just the epic nature in which it was presented to us. Another thing is the performances of the voice actors, specifically D. Bradley Baker.
And my favorite scene is when Ahsoka and Darth Maul are lightsaber dueling. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I guess that was his favorite part.
See how pithy you can be? You watch it, you come say one thing, and it's over. You don't have to ramble on and on like we are. You just come in, jump in front of the camera, and boom, there it is.
It's my favorite part. Bye.
So there we have it. Well said, sir. But the performances of D. Bradley Baker, Ashley Eckstein as Ahsoka, and Sam Witwer as Maul. I mean,
Oh, it's awesome.
they really gave.
I mean, they've been doing this for years.
Yeah,
So.
D. Bradley Baker, the way that he can bring different personalities to each clone is.
That's gonna be so hard.
Yeah, what a talent. So we talked about the lightsaber duel. We talked about these other things. Another favorite moment of mine, and you can see it in our reactions. That hallway scene with Maul.
Oh yeah, that was. Beats Vader in Rogue One.
Definitely. I don't know if I go that far. I know some people want to go that far, but Darth Vader's presence in that scene, the intimidating factor with those rubber
soldiers.
Sometimes it just they treated them like they were rubber soldiers. The rebel soldiers, the intimidation factor and the way he lit his lightsaber.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, but. The fierce just force with which Maul walked through that hallway, and the fact that he didn't have a lightsaber, was just using the Force, and that these were 501st clone troopers, not rebel soldiers
wearing little plastic helmets.
Right. I mean, what an epic scene! That's one of my favorite things I've seen in the Clone Wars ever.
Definitely.
Very cool. And beyond that, just Maul as a whole. A lot of it's Sam Witwer's the voice. He's using crazy force powers, just like Starkiller from Force Unleashed. I really enjoyed the way that I don't know if it was intentional, but it certainly came across. There was a lot of Starkiller stuff going on there. You'll probably agree, another one of my favorite scenes, and it's a sad scene, and the music really gets you, but it's when Order 66 is declared.
Yes, definitely.
And Ahsoka, first you see Rex, who's fighting it. No clone was able to fight it like Rex was. We've watched it a few times. It's very emotional. But then the music and Ahsoka blocking those blasters,
just fighting for her life
to make the hole in the ceiling. To get in the way she was, the animation of that scene and the lighting and the music was just.
And how quickly she reacted, like compared to the other Jedi, she just. Boom, like she just started defending herself.
Right. I mean, all the other Jedi, I mean, they're taken more by surprise. She had a little bit of a warning because of what she heard with Anakin, and she knew something was going on, so she had a little bit of a warning there, but very quick to react and get out of there. What a cool scene that was.
Yes. Another one of my favorite scenes, and it was once again a sad scene, was whenever Rex was showing emotion when, him and Ahsoka were standing up and looking down on the clone troopers, and Ahsoka took off his helmet and he was crying, and it just showed that the clone troopers, they aren't just soldiers, they're actually men. Because when you watch Revenge of the Sith for the first time and you don't have the Clone Wars series, you just kind of go, oh, they turn, they followed Order 66, and
right,
it's sad, but they don't have that character development, and you don't really realize that they're men, they're not just soldiers. And
yeah, you're not vested into their characters.
And the way it just showed that, he was upset, it just shows that they do have emotions and they're real people, and then it just.
Which ties into the very first Clone Wars episode, not the movie, but the first Clone Wars arc with Yoda and the clones were, and it's been so long since I've seen it, but where Yoda is talking to the clones about being individuals, that they are their own people. And I thought the way they wrapped this up really showed that, especially with Rex. And so, it's just the emotion. And again, that's D. Bradley Baker bringing that out. The emotion to that was in that scene. It's weird. It's an animated show, but you don't even.
There's so much emotion.
It's like It's like a movie, and the depth, and that's why the Clone Wars are so awesome. It's the depth of the storytelling.
Yes.
Is amazing, and that's Dave Filoni, and
he's
his
awesome.
Protege George Lucas. Of course, Clone Wars started with Lucas, but. They get Star Wars. They know how to present these things in a way that makes you relate to the characters, invested in them, and you care about them. And that's what's so cool about the Clone Wars.
They've got a lot of character development, too. Like Ahsoka, she went from, like, the Clone Wars movie, from, like, this immature teenager.
Sky Guy.
Yeah, and Snips.
Snips.
To,
Artui.
We didn't need to remember that one. But yeah, she just goes from that to like this powerful, character. And it's just really cool to see her development over you know, all the seasons of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, she's one of, if not the best developed character in all of Star Wars. Oh. So weird because, you know, mainstream Star Wars, you know, kind of casual fans might have heard the name, but they don't know anything about her.
Yeah.
Her arc from when she was, 13 when she
14, yeah.
13 or 14 when she we see her for the first time when she was 14.
Mm-hmm. And she walked off the ship, and she was supposed to be Obi-Wan's Padawan, and then she ended up being Anakin's Padawan.
Which brings up a point, and we'll just kind of skip ahead here, is very interesting that Ahsoka became Anakin's Padawan, and that was by Yoda's instruction. Mm-hmm. You know, Yoda's very wise, and he knows, and he knew that Anakin had a lot of fear in him and was susceptible to the dark side. Mm-hmm. What's interesting about the Ahsoka arc, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we never see her tempted by the dark side. And when she's with Anakin, she's like an anchor.
Yeah, it just kind of, it makes him like stronger whenever. And that's why after she left, it kind of like...
It just set the stage.
It just hurt Anakin because... Yeah.
I mean, he'd already shown signs of turning, you know, in Attack of the Clones. You know, he attacked the Sand People.
And he certainly had some moments in the Clone Wars series, but
But her leaving was really, you know, what started, you know, that anchor of her not being there. And then when she came back, you know, she was distant. She didn't really immediately remember that. She didn't really relate, or she wasn't rude.
She was like, we can catch up later.
Yeah. Ahsoka leaving and not being there certainly was a part of Anakin's fall, and just further develops the character of both Anakin and obviously Ahsoka. Like I said, it was just what an incredible. Go look at the images. Yeah, and go look at the images of Ahsoka from the movie in the first season to here in this last season to Rebels. I mean, what an amazing story for Ahsoka.
Oh yeah. I'd say the only time that Ahsoka was ever involved with the dark side was whenever the sun bit her in the Mortis episodes, and you know, she turned and she's got the yellow Sith eyes, and she's like being all creepy towards Anakin.
Right, but that was.
But that was different.
Mortis is hard to explain to begin with, and that was. You know, that was
it wasn't
circumstance,
her fault.
Right? It's kind of the same thing as the clones having the inhibitor chip. I mean, it wasn't her fault, and that was more just about learning. All you know, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka just learning stuff about the Force, and us learning with them. Some really.
I love those episodes.
We're gonna be watching those soon. Hope you join us. Was there anything that you've learned or seen since we watched episodes that we missed?
That we missed watching the episodes?
Yeah, that we didn't see when it happened.
Definitely the eyes in Vader's mask. I didn't notice that the first time.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. We did not. We were just so, you know, a fanboy. Vader's on a screen, and I just go, Vader. So
I was just kind of like glazed over from the whole thing, just.
Right.
You know.
And I totally missed his eyes. And so and I don't know if we've talked about this, but the symbolism there, you know, with the owl. Mm-hmm. The lightsaber that Ahsoka's old lightsaber, or Ahsoka's lightsaber that he gave to her, that has a crystal that we presume is right. So he's connected. He has a little bit of connection there. The clone helmet is right there, and we see his eye.
And not only is it the clone helmet, but it's like Ahsoka's markings painted on it. So.
And we have to believe the way it's presented. It's like. Everything I don't know if he's thinking about it, but we think about everything he's lost. We see the eye of Anakin Skywalker, not the eye of Darth Vader. We see the eye of Anakin Skywalker, and he's lost Padme, he's lost Obi-Wan, he's lost Ahsoka, he's lost Rex and the clones, and he's lost everything.
So
and he's trapped in a black suit. Mm-hmm. And when he turns and walks away, that's it. Anakin's
he's gone.
He's gone, and we see just a brief little glimpse of it. Spoiler
it's
alert!
Almost like
in Rebels,
regret, like when he's looking at the lightsaber and he turns it on. It's almost like he's just thinking about it, and then he's like, nah.
But the owl representing Ahsoka. What's the owl's name?
It's actually the daughter. Like it's connected to the daughter because remember the daughter put her life force into Ahsoka.
Right. So and the owl's name is Morai, representing both Ahsoka and the daughter.
Her life force, yeah.
So that's the light. And you see Anakin looking up towards and it's so far off in the distance, but there's just a little bit of light.
Yeah.
And the only person who finds it after that is Luke. There's a little, like I said a minute ago, there's a little scene in Rebels where maybe there's a glimpse of it that comes out just for the briefest of moment. But what a poetic scene, and we missed that. I really, I'm bummed that we kind of missed that one on our first viewing, because again, I was just like,
we were all emotional. We're just kind of like, what just happened?
Right. That's what's so cool about Star Wars. You go back, you watch stuff. Doesn't matter if it's the movies or the Clone Wars or what it is. There's always new stuff to catch that you missed the first time.
That's why it's so fun to watch them over and over and over.
So, last question that I want to talk about is, what were we hoping to see but didn't? And I have some things, but they didn't. It doesn't overall affect my feeling of how it ended. Very poetic and very beautiful, but there's certainly some things I was hoping to see that we didn't. Is there anything that you're thinking of?
Well, one thing I'm going to say is I just kind of wish it was a little bit longer. Not because I don't like the way it ended, but I wanted more to be in between Rex and Ahsoka escaping the ship and then Vader showing up. I wish there would have been more, Ahsoka maybe grieving Anakin and the other Jedi and not just the clones.
Right.
And, I just wanted there to be more than them just kind of going nuts on the ship. I wanted more, maybe a little more emotion to the...
Yeah, so the whole last episode was just really about them escaping. It was very condensed. It was very just focused on that. And while that was really cool, and we were presented with some awesome imagery and some great moments with Ahsoka and Rex, we didn't get to see, maybe some sort of communication between Ahsoka and Obi-Wan. We didn't get to see Obi-Wan's message that he sent to all the Jedi. I was kind of hoping that Ahsoka would see that. There's things like tie-ins to Rebels. I'm not saying it has to. Some people really like to connect the dots. Others don't. But we know that Rex ends up on that desert planet in
with
Rebels with 2 other clones. Is it just 2? It's Wolf and Gregor.
Yeah.
How does that happen? I mean, and maybe there's more stories to tell. We don't know, but
I guess it's just it. I know there was some confusion with some of our viewers about why I wanted there to be more. It wasn't that I wanted there to be more after Vader showed up. It was more I wanted there to be more story in between. I wanted to see more of the aftermath of Order 66.
Right.
And more of Ahsoka's shocked and Rex is shocked and, I just maybe wanted it to be a bit longer, or there didn't need to be as much focus on them escaping as there was.
Right. And that's kind of where I landed. But after watching that last scene with Ahsoka standing there, but Rex looking to Ahsoka, and then Ahsoka standing in her gray Jedi robes, and looking at the helmets of all the clones that are buried, and Jesse's helmet, it's still very poetic and very well done.
Oh, yeah.
And these are just little nitpicks that we would have liked to have seen.
But it doesn't take away from
absolutely not
the epicness of it, or the emotion of it. So
absolutely not. A couple last things. One is something that surprised. I think we're both on the same page here. Something that surprised us was I really anticipated seeing Rex, and this is going back to Shattered. I really anticipated seeing Rex get the chip out of his head before Order 66 was declared.
Yeah.
I was shocked when
he turned on Ahsoka and fired on her.
Right. Now, he fought it really hard, and it was really cool scene, but that shocked me. That really surprised. It was a good surprise. I actually really...
Plot twist.
Yeah, I really thought that was pretty cool.
But it definitely surprised us.
And so just some last final adjectives to describe this whole series. I think of things like the fact that it was thrilling, it was chilling, it was shocking,
emotional.
It was emotional, it was epic. What a grand way to bring the Clone Wars to a conclusion. And that's the thing that I love, that we were able to film this, and that's my last favorite moment of this, is that
we get to do this together.
We did it together, and it's about family. That's what Star Wars is all about. It's about family. Ahsoka's family is the clones and the Jedi, and she lost all of that. And Star Wars is about family, so we can look back on what we did here and watch it together. This is Star Wars history that we witnessed, and I'm very thankful that we got to do that.
And it's not just these past few episodes. I've been watching the Clone Wars for years.
Yeah.
I've kind of grown up with it, and I've been watching it with my dad and my brother for as long as I can remember, and I just have so many memories of all of us watching it together.
Yeah, and they're great memories. That's the last favorite moment of mine, is I got to enjoy it with my family. So the last question is, where do we go from here? What do we see next? What do we want to see next?
I want to see a series focusing on, back to, this is Rebels, but I want to see Ahsoka and Sabine finding Ezra. I want that to be, told.
I gotta believe that's in the works.
Oh,
I gotta believe that's in the
works. It's gotta
works.
be in the works. They can't just end it like
That's
that.
like one of the greatest cliffhangers
most frustrating
ever, because we don't
cliffhanger.
know when it's ever gonna come to its conclusion. And maybe that'll tie into what I would like to see, whether it's animated. It'd probably be pretty cool to see it animated. Is how the Clone Wars really lifted up and helped us appreciate the prequels that much more. Is I would like to see a series like the Clone Wars that takes place in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
That's not Resistance.
Not Resistance. That's fun. It's a fun show, but we're not talking about. We're talking depth, like the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see an in-depth Clone Wars type series that takes place in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, that shows us how the New Republic was built, that shows us how Palpatine survived, and if you've listened to or read the book, you find out that his body at least was a clone, but it's still his essence.
Mm-hmm.
And see how that kind of stuff takes place, and it just kind of bridged some of the gap. The 30 years between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens is a long time, and I'd love to see some of that filled in.
And even like some of like Ben and Leia and Han.
Yeah. Ben is a child. There's all kinds of stuff they can do, but the thing that we're going to get first is The Mandalorian Season 2.
Oh yeah.
And we will be.
That's exciting.
We will be reacting to that. And I'm both very excited and very nervous about live action Ahsoka. What's going to happen?
I like Ahsoka. I love Ahsoka, but I don't know if I want her to become live action. I don't know.
It's a tricky thing to do.
It's hard. And it's going to be a different actress, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing to do. It can be pulled off. It can happen.
It's kind of like the young Han thing,
If they do it, well, the good thing is she's older now. So we don't have anything to go on from a younger. She's older now, so.
Well, I meant more like it's kind of like that risky, like making a young Han.
Right. So there's risk involved whenever you do that, especially going from animation to live action. It could, if they do it right, it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, but they got to do it right.
But it makes us a little nervous.
Because as much as I love Rebels, I like Ahsoka better in the Clone Wars than I do in Rebels. As cool as she is in Rebels, but I don't know.
Yeah, Ahsoka has become one of my favorite Star Wars characters.
Oh yeah, she's probably my favorite character. Yeah. She has the most development.
Yeah, and Rex. I mean, and I guess that's fresh off the Clone Wars, but just great storytelling. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a fun ride watching the Clone Wars with everybody.
Oh yeah, it's so sad it's over.
It is sad. It's a little bittersweet, but memories have been created, and we've met a lot of, we've engaged with a lot of new fans, and that's been a wonderful thing. Thank you again to everybody who has subscribed. If you haven't done so yet and you've made it this far in, please hit the subscribe button. Let us know what you thought of our conversation. Let us know what you thought of the final season of the Clone Wars and what you would like to see next. What would you guys like to see next from Lucasfilm, Dave Filoni, continuing this vast galaxy of storytelling known as Star Wars. So much
chaotic storytelling and unfinished characters. I'm kidding. But
again, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.